Trump threatens to cut funding for South Africa over land policy.
Former U.S. President Donald Trump has announced he will cut all future funding to South Africa, citing allegations that the country is seizing land and discriminating against certain groups. Last month, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa signed a bill into law that permits land expropriation without compensation under specific conditions. Land ownership has been a long-standing issue in South Africa, where, 30 years after the end of apartheid, the majority of private farmland remains in white ownership. There have been ongoing calls for land reform to address historical injustices stemming from racial segregation. In response to Trump's claims, Ramaphosa issued a statement on X, asserting that South Africa is a constitutional democracy committed to the rule of law, justice, and equality. The South African government has not confiscated any land, he emphasized. Elon Musk, a South African-born billionaire and Trump advisor, also weighed in on the debate. Why do you have openly racist ownership laws? Musk asked Ramaphosa in a post on X. On Sunday, Trump reiterated his stance on Truth Social, stating, "I will be cutting off all future funding to South Africa until a full investigation of this situation has been completed." Speaking to journalists later, he accused South Africa's leadership of engaging in terrible, horrible things. "We're investigating the situation," he said, "until we determine what's happening, whether they're confiscating land or doing something even worse. Funding will be withheld." Ramaphosa clarified that the only U.S. funding South Africa receives is through the PEPFAR Health Initiative, which accounts for 17% of the country's HIV/AIDS program. In 2023, the U.S. provided approximately $440 million, £358 million, in aid to South Africa, according to government data. The South African president reiterated that the new law does not authorize land confiscation, but is instead a constitutionally guided process aimed at equitable land distribution. It allows expropriation without compensation only when it is deemed just and equitable and in the public interest. This includes cases where land is unused, abandoned, or poses a public hazard. Previously, land reform efforts followed a willing seller, willing buyer model, which some argue slowed progress. However, critics warn that the new law could lead to economic instability, drawing comparisons to Zimbabwe, where land seizures devastated the economy and drove away investors. Trump previously targeted South Africa's land policies during his first term, instructing then Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to investigate farm seizures and expropriations and the large-scale killing of farmers. At the time, South African officials dismissed his claims as misinformed and accused him of attempting to sow division.